The spark in the void. Captain Elena Ward stood at the edge of history. The UNSS Dauntless hummed beneath her boots, the ship's quantum field shimmering around the hull as it prepared for humanity's first faster-than-light jump. Decades of research, hard-fought unity, and desperate innovation had brought them to this moment. One final push into the unknown. Earth, scarred by centuries of conflict and near collapse, had clawed its way back from the brink with a single goal: reach the stars and never again be caged by their own limits. Compression field stable, announced Commander Zhao from the engineering console. FTL window opening in 5, 4. Elena closed her eyes for a heartbeat. Not in fear, no, that had passed long ago, but in reverence. When she opened them, space had already bent. The stars twisted, reality folded, and the Dauntless disappeared from the Sol system in a blaze of human defiance. The transition was rougher than simulations. Lights flickered. Hull integrity danced dangerously close to failure. But when the Dauntless emerged into an uncharted star system hours later, the crew erupted into cheers. They had done it. Humanity had broken the light barrier, alone. The celebration didn't last long. Unidentified contacts came the alert. 5, no, 7 vessels. Closing fast. Captain Ward stepped forward, eyes narrowing at the alien ships on the screen. Sleek, silent, symmetrical. Unlike anything Earth had seen. First contact, she murmured. Open hailing frequencies. A voice, layered, emotionless, answered. This system is under observation by the Continuum Accord. You have violated Article 9 by unauthorized FTL transit. You will surrender your vessel for inspection and disarmament. Ward blinked. Excuse me? The voice continued without pause. Your civilization has not been granted transit permissions. FTL capability by pre-registered species must be approved and monitored. This is a breach of interstellar protocol. You will comply. Her crew looked at her, silent. Waiting. Elena Ward straightened her spine. This is Captain Elena Ward of Earth. We didn't ask permission because we didn't know you existed. We made this journey ourselves, on our terms. We do not recognize the authority of any accord we've never heard of. We won't surrender. A pause. Then the alien response, colder now. Non-compliance confirmed. Earth will be subject to Containment Protocol Alpha. Prepare for enforced stabilization. The ships turned and vanished. Back on Earth, Captain Ward's transmission made headlines in every language. Humanity was not alone, but their neighbors weren't welcoming. World leaders convened. Protests broke out. Some called for submission, fearing annihilation. Others, galvanized by centuries of struggle for independence, shouted one phrase loudest. We will not kneel. In the darkness of space, the stars shifted, and for the first time in millennia, the galactic status quo began to crack. The chains we break. They came in peace, draped in silver robes, faces unreadable, voices smooth as glass. The Continuum ambassadors arrived in orbit above Earth, in towering spire ships that cast shadows on the clouds. Their message was diplomatic, their tone benevolent. But Captain Elena Ward had seen their true nature. She watched from the war room at the United Earth Assembly as the alien delegation made their case before the world. Integration into the Accord will bring stability, enlightenment, and access to technologies that would take your species centuries to develop. It is not a surrender, it is an elevation. Earth's representatives exchanged glances. On the surface, the offer seemed generous. Medicine that cured every disease, food replicators, limitless clean energy. All for peaceful submission. But Ward, now an advisor to Earth's unified command, stood and stepped forward. There's always a cost, she said. What aren't you telling us? The lead ambassador, a tall, six-eyed Cellari known as Viral, tilted his head. You are not the first to resist integration. Others once shared your passion. Their cultures now thrive, safely guided, properly restructured. Restructured. Dr. Amani Teshome, a cultural historian from the African Confederation, leaned in. You mean rewritten? Subjugated. Viral gave the faintest nod. The Accord ensures peace. Your species burns too brightly. Chaos follows where you go. We simply offer protection from yourselves. While politicians debated, Ward and Dr. Tashome began investigating. In secret, they consulted Kiran Val, a Xylan defector, once a servant race within the Accord. His mind was sharp, his hatred sharper. You think you're being welcomed? No, you're being neutered. They give gifts to sedate you, isolate you. Once you're passive, your history is wiped, your identity sterilized. You won't even remember resisting. He showed them the records, hundreds of species that had once reached the stars with fire in their hearts. Now, most lived in sanitized orbitals, docile and uniform, their cultures drained of originality, their spirits broken. Earth was next. Back in the assembly, the Accord's final offer was presented. Integrate fully or face containment. The vote was tense. Delegates from old superpowers urged caution. Others, from nations once colonized, saw the truth in the Accord's offer. They'd lived under benevolent control before. The decision came down to a single global resolution. The result, unanimous rejection. Earth would not kneel. Within hours, the skies darkened. An Accord blockade formed above the exosphere. No shots were fired, but every Earth satellite was shadowed by alien craft. Still, humanity stood firm. Dr. Tashome's words echoed through the viral message broadcast across the stars. We are not a mistake to be corrected. We are the storm that shakes empires. In hidden bunkers, Earth's brightest minds began building a resistance. Project Prometheus, a union of human and stolen alien tech. They would not fight to preserve the old galaxy. They would fight to break it. The war of acceleration. The blockade above Earth should have been absolute. According to Continuum Doctrine, containment operations were swift and clean. No need for war, just pressure and patience. Most civilizations cracked under the silence of the stars, trading freedom for survival. Humanity wasn't most civilizations. In a dark orbit beyond Luna, a small vessel shimmered into view. Revenant. 1. The first of Earth's experimental stealth ships. Engineered under Project Prometheus, it ran on hybrid tech, quantum slip drive fused with hacked continuum schematics. Designed not for conquest, but disruption. On board, Commander Reyes checked final coordinates. Target locked. Accord relay station, unguarded. They never saw us coming. He smiled grimly. Let's wake them up. With a flash of folded space, Revenant. 1 vanished, and a new kind of war began. The strike was surgical. In under 20 minutes, Revenant. 1 infiltrated the Continuum relay outpost at Arden's Eye, disabled its comms, and extracted a cache of classified data. By the time the Accord responded, the ship had already jumped back into deep space. It was the first successful attack against the Accord in nearly 1,000 years. And the galaxy noticed. From the icy moons of the Lissari to the crowded cities of the Marnak Belt, species long suppressed began to stir. Whispers spread of humans, defiant, dangerous, and free. A quiet rebellion ignited. Earth's leaders knew they couldn't win a war of attrition. The Accord had the numbers, firepower, and experience. But humanity had speed, creativity, rage. They'd spent centuries learning to adapt under pressure. Now they were applying that instinct on a galactic scale. Admiral Raj Patel coordinated the first distributed fleet initiative, a scattered formation of modular strike teams operating independently across star systems, striking where the Accord least expected. The Accord responded predictably. They centralized, fortified, slowed down. Meanwhile, Dr. Amani Tashome led a parallel campaign, not of weapons, but of words. Using intercepted networks and encrypted broadcasts, she reached out to suppressed alien cultures. Her message was simple. You don't need a new master. You need a future. One by one, outcast species answered. A ragtag coalition emerged, the Free Horizon Pact, a collection of exiles, freedom fighters, and defectors. Their tech was outdated, their fleets mismatched, but when they fought beside humans, they found hope. Even within the Accord, cracks appeared. Some Cellari officers, like strategist Velther, began questioning their ancient system. We preserve peace, he whispered to his confidant. But at what cost? We have made the galaxy quiet, not better. For the first time in generations, dissent bloomed within the core. Humanity's campaign wasn't about territory. It was about truth. They exposed secrets, liberated data, crippled logistics, and in every system they touched, they left behind a symbol, a simple mark, burned into alloy and memory alike. A human hand breaking a chain. The Accords still held the high ground. But for the first time in millennia, their footing was shaking. The New Order. The stars above Arx Tenebris shimmered like jagged glass, fractured by the gravity distortions of a dying neutron star. It was the perfect place for a trap. The Accord had committed nearly a third of its fleet to destroy the human forward base hidden within the unstable sector. Their goal was clear: crush the rebellion in one swift strike, reassert control, and remind the galaxy who ruled. But humanity had rewritten the rules of engagement. Admiral Raj Patel stood at the command deck of the UNSS Valiant, watching the incoming tidal wave of ships. "Status?" he asked calmly. "Enemy fleet within strike range. Gravity distortions optimal," came the reply. Patel gave the order, "Trigger Protocol Tempest." From hidden generators scattered across the sector, human and packed vessels activated synchronized gravitic lances, experimental tech barely stable enough to test, let alone deploy. The space around Arx Tenebris screamed as the star's already fractured mass was pushed toward collapse. The battlefield became chaos. The Accord's formations, built for order and precision, shattered instantly. Ships collided, sensors scrambled, maneuvering impossible in the violent pull of tidal gravity. And then the Revenant fleet struck. Human and Free Horizon-packed vessels moved like predators in a storm, slipping between gravity shears, cutting deep into the Accord lines, vanishing before retaliation could land. The battle was not clean. Humanity lost hundreds. Brave captains, engineers, medics, all burned in the fire they had unleashed. But the Accord lost something more dangerous. They lost control. The aftermath shook the galaxy. The defeat at Arx Tenebris shattered the illusion of invincibility the Continuum had upheld for 10,000 years. Broadcasts leaked. Footage of the battle, human courage, and alien allies fighting side by side spread like wildfire. Across the stars, the Accord's grip fractured. Minor worlds declared independence. Rebellions flared into revolutions. Accord embassies burned. Refugee fleets turned into liberation navies. The Free Horizon Pact evolved into something greater. The Galactic Concord, an alliance of self-determined civilizations bound not by conquest, but by mutual respect and a shared hatred of oppression. Humanity refused to lead it. They had no interest in becoming the new empire. They had something else in mind. At the Accord's final summit, High Adjudicator Sarinth, aged and desperate, offered humanity a deal: a reformed accord, shared governance, peace. Elena Ward, now Earth's High Commander, replied from orbit above Cellari Prime. Her message transmitted to every corner of the galaxy. "You feared us because we were unpredictable. You tried to break us because we were free. We didn't come to join your empire. We came to burn it down." 50 years later, a child on a moon in the Nerean belt reads from a history hollow. Before Earth reached the stars, power flowed in one direction. Now, every world has a voice. Above him, a monument gleams, a sculpture of a broken chain wrapped around a hand reaching toward the stars. The plaque reads, "Here began the end of control and the beginning of choice." And so, the galactic status quo fell, not with silence, but with a human roar that echoed across time.